Whichever choice of education you choose, I hope God blesses it richly. I am here to encourage all the mamas, no matter which your choice is. But this episode is specific to all the homeschool mamas out there. That growing in popularity choice that's floating around. So tune in if you are a homeschool mama, or maybe you're just a little curious what it looks like behind the scenes. Listen to this episode and be blessed. When people ask, why do you homeschool? What do you say? What's your answer? What is your why, your purpose? Are you homeschooling based on love, obedience, fear? Is it because you want a better curriculum for your children, a better outcome? Is it because it's part of the identity you want to create? Has your educational choice become an idol? How about your children or their accomplishments? Have they become an idol? I've homeschooled for 25 years and I've been an evaluator for 29 years at the time of this recording anyway. And I can tell you, I've seen lots of reasons for people to homeschool. Some of them have worked well and some of them have not. But ultimately, those that are based on love and those kind of motivations are the ones that last and the ones that have the results that we want. There's a lot of choices in the style and the ways in which we choose to homeschool. There's also a lot of choices in the curriculum that's out there. But I can tell you, I've also seen lots of choices of curriculum, boxes, bins, buckets, roomfuls, boatfuls, but there's not a perfect curriculum out there. We have a few that we use that have definitely stood the test of time, and I will be sharing those in my course, information in the show notes about how to access that. But I can tell you that anytime we make an idol of our children, their accomplishments, our educational choice, or our curriculum, it is not going to serve us well. To be effective, we must be motivated by love. So let's start right there. Let's get to the heart of it. What are some of the thoughts that you have that are kind of floating around your head about homeschooling based on countless conversations with literally hundreds of mamas over the years? Between the support group that I used to lead for mamas for 15 years, as well as the 29 years of evaluating mamas, I have had some heart-to-heart conversations. And I do continue to have compassion for those of us in the trenches homeschooling our children. It's hard work, but I am so grateful that we get to do this. And that's where I love to show up from. Because there was a season that it wasn't legal to homeschool. You may have also had a season where you weren't yet interested in homeschooling. And it's interesting to me because homeschooling was the original educational option. The other things are much newer on board. And they can be great options too. I just know for our family, homeschooling has been our choice and I've loved it. I've been very grateful to get to do it. But here are some of the thoughts that I hear coming up in those conversations, especially the ones that may be troubling a homeschool mom. So they feel like they have too much to do and don't know where to start. They sometimes feel overwhelmed. You know, that idea of you can't be a great wife, a great mom, and also homeschool and keep a clean house. How about that you love spending all the time together, but you kind of need a few minutes to yourself? Or you don't think you have the patience to homeschool? Little PS here. Most people don't have that kind of patience. It comes straight from the Lord. How about you're not going to keep doing this all the way through high school because we don't really know how to create a transcript? I can help with that, also available in my course. Homeschooling is not going to fix it all. And if that's a thought, homeschooling will fix all your problems, I can promise you that it won't. Another very common thought that a lot of mamas, but especially I hear this in homeschool circles, they feel like they're not enough to do this. Do you ever feel like you're not enough or you can't do this? Sometimes it presents in a different way, but it is still under there as a sneaky thought that you're not enough. So we're going to look at that thought and see how we can release it and replace it. Okay, now that we know that our thoughts produce our feelings, how do you think this sneaky thought of not being enough may make us feel? What emotions will it produce? What I have seen it produce is frustration, short tempers, a feeling of being overwhelmed, and a feeling of being stuck. Those emotions cause us to show up to our homeschool table as not our best self. For example, they're going to cause us to act out. Maybe in those frustrations, maybe we will be short-tempered in our words, or maybe we just won't take an action because we're too overwhelmed to take any action. By the way, this works for how we show up to any table, not just the homeschool table. So how will those feelings cause you to think about taking them captive? Like, are they going to drive you to that place where you realize, I really need to take these thoughts captive? And I'm the one that can make that change, right? So the way to make the change is to start with a new thought. And you want to pick a thought that lines up with what God says about you. Because, He says we are enough. He says you are enough. He says you can do all things through Him. So let's release the negative thought of not being enough and replace it with, in Him, I am enough. Write that down. Write it everywhere. In your journal, on your mirror, at the sink, at the homeschool table, on your desk, on your computer, wherever you will see it. Think on that thought. In Him, I am enough. Because what emotion will that produce? It's going to produce love and gratitude and peace and maybe some more. And when we feel those feelings, how will we show up? I believe we'll show up as our best self. We'll be full of love and gratitude and peace, and we'll be ready to do the work that God has for us that day. This is just a little peek behind the scenes of the Homeschool Coach course, and I am here to help you have a successful homeschool mama journey. For a limited time, when you join my group coaching program, you will get the Homeschool Coach course for free. That's right. All the info is in the show notes below. Let's work together. I am here to help. Until next time, this is my hope for you. Be sure to subscribe and share this podcast. You can find me at stephaniejohns.com or on the gram at The Hope Coach. You can even use the links in the show notes below to apply for one-on-one or group coaching and to join my email list.